I'm Dustin Cormier, and this is the How to Rock Astrology audio series. The information in this recording is copyrighted by Dustin Cormier, 2015, all rights reserved, except where noted in the recording. The following information on ascendant or rising signs comes from Stephen Arroyo's Chart Interpretation Handbook, copyrighted in 1989 by Stephen Arroyo, published by CRCS Publications in Sebastopol, California. I do not own the following content. Guidelines to interpreting the ascendant. Although the ascendant is of deep and pervasive importance for each individual, there is no denying that it must be related to the rest of the chart, and especially to the sun sign, in order to understand it thoroughly for a particular person. The sun, after all, is the core identity, the very center of the consciousness, the way we assimilate much of our experience, whereas the ascendant, although it varies in importance from person to person, is not as central to the person's nature. It shows, among other things, the approach to life, but the sun shows life itself. The ascendant must serve the purposes, values, and creative goals of the sun for the individual to function happily and fully. A useful tool for understanding how a person's ascendant and sun sign interact is to compare the elements of the two factors. For example, a Cancer sun sign person with a fire sign rising is usually far more extroverted, forcefully expressive, and confident than a Cancer sun individual with, say, a more conservative, self-protective earth sign rising. For another example, an air sign sun person with a water sign rising may appear much more emotional than he or she really is, whereas a water sign sun person with an air sign rising may appear far more detached and less emotional than he or she really is. It should be pointed out that people are often relatively unaware of their ascendant nature as compared to their sun sign. In that sense, the ascendant is a factor that can be consciously developed further over time and consciously utilized to aid one's self-expression. I've known people who are relieved to find what their rising signs were, since it finally gave them a way of identifying a very deep but only semi-conscious tendency in themselves. In some cases, the qualities and abilities symbolized by the ascendant were just beginning to emerge, and learning the astrological keys to this factor helped personal development greatly. I should emphasize here that perhaps more than with most other factors in the chart, the early environment can encourage or suppress the expression of the ascendant's energies, since it is a primary channel with which one interacts with the outer world. The reader should view the following comparative evaluations as guidelines and as questions to explore, rather than as rigid statements of absolute truth. Leo modality, or quadruplicity. The Leo modality is fixed, the determined energy mode. There are exactly 4 of these willful, determined signs in the zodiac belonging to the fixed modality. These include Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus, and they all share similar characteristics. These 4 signs are better able to focus and concentrate than the other 8 signs. They share a deliberateness and a powerful ability to focus and endure, but they also share the challenge of avoiding stubbornness and close-minded rigidity. The element of the ascendant. The element of the ascendant reveals the quality of energy flow directly vitalizing the physical body and the overall approach to life. Fire or air signs rising tend to conduct energy, encouraging active self-expression and dynamic expenditure of energy. Earth or water rising signs tend to conserve and resist the flow of vital energies, and hence indicate self-containment, sometimes self-repression, and the tendency of living within oneself. Fire signs rising, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Great vitality, physically energetic, beams energy outward into the world. Marked by a positive, optimistic outlook on life and a confident, bluntly honest demeanor. Active, wants to make a mark on life and see the results of one's efforts manifested in the world. Action orientation can lead to wasteful excesses and less awareness of the subtler needs of self and others. Leo Ascendant. A Leo Ascendant often seems to motivate a person to try hard to express one's best self. That is not to say that the pride and even arrogance of the sign Leo is completely absent from those with Leo rising, but it does appear that they have less need to lord it over other people than those with the Leo Sun do. The Leo Ascendant seems to encourage an especially authentic expression of the person's Sun energy, whereas the Leo Sun person often displays a more self-conscious dramatization of his or her deeper feelings. Big-heartedness, often said to be a trait of Leo, seems to be more a reliable quality in those with Leo Ascendant than with Leo Sun, which is so often insensitively manipulating for others for personal gain. Leo Ascendant can, however, demonstrate an extremely aloof bearing and, because of their inordinate need for respect and a show of dignity, often seems to lack the spontaneous humor and playfulness of Leo Sun. The following information comes from Isabel Hickey's classic text, Astrology, A Cosmic Science, copyrighted in 1992 by Isabel M. Hickey Trust, published by CRCS Publications in Sebastopol, California. I do not own the following content. Leo on the Ascendant. Self-confident, romantic and sentimental, emotional and extroverted, courageous but sometimes foolhardy, loves to take risks, a zest for life, impulsive but faithful to those they love, can be stubborn in a sunny sort of way, likes sports and activity out of doors, strong vitality but need to keep spine supple by exercise, large shoulders, small hips like the lion, can be quick-tempered but can't stay angry. Like the lion, they roar and lash their tail about a bit, then the storm dies down. Don't walk on their dignity or hurt their pride. They forgive but don't forget. Their need for love is very great. If frustrated, they have no desire to live. Psychological heart trouble leads to trouble with the physical heart. The following information comes from The Secrets of Your Rising Sign by William Lamb with Webb Harris, Jr., copyrighted by William Lamb in 2004, first published in the USA by Fairwinds Press in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I do not own the following content. Lordly Leo exhibits a generous and sunny disposition. People with Leo rising are bold and assertive, and possibly unruly as children. They resent being told what to do, but their willful independence breeds confidence and competence in adulthood, creating consummate showmen, effective attention-getters, and masters of the big impression. Leos have lion-hearted fearlessness and a good dose of romantic appeal. These people stand out from the crowd. They believe in doing it right the first time. Stand aside, I'll generously show you how to do this, and you can do it the next time. They're often fond of jewelry and might come off as a bit too full of themselves. Physical type: healthy robustness, able to get by with relatively little sleep, noticeable crown to the head. Favored colors: gold, orange, forest green. The following information comes from Isabel Hickey's Astrology, A Cosmic Science, copyrighted in 1992 by Isabel M. Hickey Trust, published by CRCS Publications in Sebastopol, California. The significance of the Sun and the Sun sign in astrology. The symbol of the Sun in astrology is a circle with a dot in the middle. This is a very deep occult spiritual symbolism. The circle represents the eternal self that did not start here and does not finish here on earth. The dot in the middle represents the divine spark at the center of every living cell, the light which lighteth every man which cometh into the world. It is the point of light at the center of every living cell. In the blueprint, the sun represents the main expression of the individual, the heart and core of beingness. The sun has a different effect on individuals born at different times of the year. According to the sign and house in which the sun is placed, we are able to judge the general vitality and physique, the qualities of leadership, and the individual's ability to succeed in life. In a personal chart, the sun represents the basic drive for significance, the will, male relationships and female charts, especially with the father, vital energy coming from the etheric levels and prana, fuel on which the total personality operates, urge for power, constitutional strength, and finally, a powerful sun means very great power to do and to be. Keywords of the sun: will, individuality, spirit. The sun is the significator of the spirit in man. the beingness or isness of life. It rules the basic drive for significance, the will to be. Physically, the sun is the sustainer of life, giver of light, heat, and energy. More than anything else in the chart, it shows the will, man's highest expression. Its aspects show deep character traits, the chief ambitions. It needs aspects to the planets for strength of expression in the horoscope. As the sun moves through the signs, its return to the sign of its exaltation, Aries, the eastern horizon, marks the beginning of the astrological year. Springtime brings the release of a new cycle of life. As the sun moves through the houses, its return to the eastern horizon is the beginning of the astrological day, sunrise. The sun sign in its element. The following information comes from Stephen Arroyo's Chart Interpretation Handbook, copyrighted in 1989 by Stephen Arroyo, published by CRCS Publications in Sebastopol, California. I do not own the following content. The sun sign's element is usually dominant in considering the overall psychology of a person. This is so because the sun sign's element reveals the attunement of one's basic vitality, identity, and power of self-projection, as well as the fundamental quality of his or her consciousness. The element of one's sun sign reveals the basic inner force motivating everything we do. The element of the sun sign also gives insight into how any individual sees life itself and what expectations they have of the life experience. Gemini Sun. Gemini is an air sign. These are the common characteristics of people born with the sun in air signs. Basically motivated by intellectual concepts and social ideals. Recharges energy through social involvement and intellectual stimulation. Interpretive guidelines for the sun in Gemini. Creative energy directed toward perception, acquiring facts, asking questions, and toward finding connections between ideas. Needs to express self verbally and to receive recognition for intellectual abilities. Radiates changeable, talkative, mental energy. Free connection of ideas and a wide variety of social contacts are necessary for full self-expression. Sustained effort in one area is difficult to maintain due to a wide variety of interests. This final article comes from The Secrets of Your Rising Sign by William Lamb with Webb Harris, Jr., copyrighted by William Lamb in 2004, first published in the USA by Fair Winds Press in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I do not own the following content. Gemini born mid-morning. Gemini with Leo rising. These are the well-informed people who inspire your confidence and hold themselves responsible for their deeds. They're not as prone as other Geminians to gloss over things and miss the point. But with their cordial open-mindedness, they're always willing to listen to objections. What's not to like? When we mix Gemini's smart aleck with Leo's attention getter, we might end up with a real character. These folks are quick-witted and entertaining. With mid-morning magnetism, Gemini geniality, Leo confidence, and Leo rising's striking appearance, especially regarding the crown of the head. This combination usually results in an impressive person. These Geminians are romantic and demonstrative with their affections, and they have that wonderful Leo generosity. Very impressive indeed. Just pay them a compliment and see how they react. Their intelligent, well-read Gemini is usually front and center on current events and almost any other subject you might care to discuss. And if you thank them for their intelligent input, they'll love you forever. Leo is a show-off at heart, but Gemini provides a playful quality. So flaunting their knowledge while watching Jeopardy is mostly no harm done. But if they do become arrogant and obnoxious, they compromise their Gemini congeniality. They need to avoid arrogance so as not to become obscure in their judgment, coming up with brain-dead opinions. Too often, Gemini knowledge is just superficial information, not a good foundation for a knowledgeable person seeking respect and recognition. Geminians with Leo rising are inspiring networkers and probably flirtatious. Oh yeah, there's lots of fun to be had here. They're great school teachers, promoters, entertainers, or spiffy clerks behind the front desk of a posh hotel. They're responsible and take their work and relationships seriously, but they still love to be noticed. Anyone in love with one of these people is well advised to give them lots of attention because they move along pretty quickly in the face of neglect or disrespect. They know from their life's experience that a new and inspiring opportunity might not be too difficult to find.